Welcome back, everybody, to Still a Part of Us. We are once again pleased to talk to Amy, and she was just telling us the birth story of her son, DJ. And so, welcome again, Amy, to Still a Part of Us.
Thanks, Winter.
And can you, just to make sure that we've got everybody knows where we're at, can you tell us a little bit about DJ and when he passed away and when his birthday was?
Sure. Yeah. DJ passed at 22 weeks on August 19th of last year, 2022, preterm at birth from spontaneous early labor.
And if you, I would highly recommend listening to that story because it was quite the story and felt look a little like a wild ride, actually. Couldn't believe what was happening, and so I encourage you to listen to that. And thank you for being so candid and sharing everything that had happened and getting to know DJ too. That was sure fun to hear about him and you guys as well. So, Amy, we talked a little bit on your birth episode. And once again, I just want everybody to, if you get a chance to listen to her birth episode, you'll understand that when I asked this question, is that DJ was not I would say, not a typical stillbirth, right? He was not like, you're not going to find anything on an autopsy for him. He was perfect. He was healthy. He was all there. So, can you tell us a little bit more about your thoughts or what you tell people about how he was born and what happened there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that because I think, clinically we had a stillbirth and that, he was delivered and was not breathing, but, he was there with us till the very end. And so, often when people talk about a stillbirth, it's, they go to an ultrasound and there's no heartbeat
Yeah,
anymore, right? And
yeah.
then they have to go into be put into labor or deliver another way. And I went into spontaneous active labor at
Yeah,
22 weeks, which is seems so uncommon. I know it's common enough because I've read stories, but there's so few out there. And
yeah,
that I think has been important for us to, like, share that distinction with people because our story was so unique. And again, everyone's story is unique, but the fact that we went into active labor
yeah.
and that he ultimately didn't survive the birthing journey, but yeah, that it's a very different version of that what people typically understand as stillbirth. So when it shows up in my chart in passing, at other appointments, it's like just an opportunity always to, like, correct folks because there's just one very standard version of what stillbirth
Yeah.
means.
Yeah, he was, I mean, like, he was perfect. He was going along just great, and it was just a matter of him just being so young, right? I mean, essentially, he was too young to survive even the birth. So yes. That a very I think a very important distinction, actually, because so we were shocked, like, when we found out, like, we were that typical ultrasound, got an ultrasound, nothing was there. And but for you to, I just think of, like, you were grieving that entire time probably and had this possibility of hope and anxiety. I just, yeah, there's just so much more 'cause there's, like, so many more layers, I feel like, in your situation. And once again, not comparing grief, not comparing anything, but just still there's some added layers for sure that you guys had to deal with. So, I wanted to chat a little bit about what this year, since it's been almost a year, it'll be almost a year here in the next little bit, at the time of this recording. How did that time look after you guys lost DJ? Just kind of maybe the first month or two.
Yeah, it again was just such a haze, but just so grateful for our family and friends and coworkers for just how they were there for us. I was able to take my full 12 weeks of pregnancy leave,
Oh, great.
which was such a blessing. Family and friends just, I just describe it as like everybody just rose up around us. Like we were just such shells of ourselves and in such despair. You just every decision is so difficult to make in those early days of grief, and it just somehow everybody knew what to do. And we're just so grateful. I mean, I have a book of, I think like 75 notes that
Oh,
people had sent us, cards,
yeah.
notes, little gifts, and it's just nobody knew what to do, and yet they all did the right thing,
Yeah.
and just made us feel so loved in such a difficult time. And after a few weeks of recovery, Doug and I went on some long trips,
Oh,
and
good.
that was so healing. It was just like escaping in a
Mm,
way that brought kind of like forced us to be together through this grief
yeah.
and gave us time to heal and talk about him, but without the pressures of kind of feeling like you have to go back to a normal world, which is
Yeah.
so abnormal now.
Yes. Yeah. And how long were those trips? I'm tell me more about what like how long were you gone?
Yeah, we did a trip that was probably close to 2.5, 3 weeks up in
Oh,
Canada.
yeah.
And just exploring, the beautiful national
Mhm.
parks up there, and being in nature, which we both find so healing. And then we went and visited his brother and now wife in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Um, so two vastly different, kind of like,
Yeah.
experiences, but yeah, just a chance to be in nature and be with family. And yeah, we drove up and saw his family up in the Northeast. They're in Maine and upstate PA. And it's just, yeah, just kind of getting out of our habit in our home was actually really healing for us.
Yeah, that just a little bit of physical distance sometimes is really nice. You had mentioned in your previous episode that you guys stayed at the beach house, your family's beach house, for about a week after. And that was also very helpful because I feel like, yeah, when you're in your home, you're like, oh, I've got all these other things that I need to do as well. And so it's nice to be away to just really focus on the sadness and your loss and all the things that you need to work through emotionally in
Yeah.
a different
And
spot.
like, exactly. And like, not have the pressure of the world around you. Like when we're
Mhm.
traveling, like nobody knows you. They don't know
Yeah.
what you went through, right?
Yeah.
So you can cry whenever you want. You
Yeah.
can laugh whenever you want and not feel like someone's judging you.
Right.
Like I feel like in the month or 2 or 3 after, like that was so so helpful.
Mhm.
And to just yeah, kind of get to honor him with Doug in our own special way.
Yeah. That is such a blessing to have that time to travel. You
Yeah,
met
and I get, so few people have access and the ability to take
Mhm.
leave after a loss, but or even after a delivery in general. But yeah, I just that was something that felt really important for us to take that time
Yeah.
for us to have any ability to get back to ourselves eventually.
Mhm. You did mention your coworkers and being able to take leave, which is so great. I That does not happen everywhere for sure. So was Doug also able to get some sort of leave as well? Because that's tricky because they're like, "Oh, you didn't have the baby," and it's pretty
Yeah,
feels really unfair and not great.
yeah. I mean, one thing I learned through this because he qualified under FMLA.
Mhm.
And the only way partners qualify related to a birth or a loss is to help the birthing parent. So it wasn't like, hey, I lost my son and I am grieving and I need time. He had to qualify by saying he was helping me.
Oh,
Isn't that wild?
yeah. That's not
Oh, just another,
Yeah.
just eye opening experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, he ended up taking the same amount of, unpaid leave and, just we recognized that this was just a critical need for us at that time.
Yeah.
And I am glad that we did it.
Yeah, that's great that he was well, I mean, the reasoning behind it for him was just like, "Oh, yeah, that's not totally great," but I'm glad that you both were able to take that time off and, sounds like you got a lot of support from your coworkers as well and them reaching out to you.
Yeah, they did. I think in general, just the fact that the company is so both of our companies are very family first oriented.
Mm, mhm.
It's just, yeah, again, such a blessing in this time. And again, to know that we already have such difficult access to maternal and parental leave care, to just to have that and be able to take it and be able to financially stay afloat was, I just, again, I think we all often say this, but I can't imagine what it's like, without having that. So,
Right.
yeah, we definitely used it well and took time.
Good, good. That's the way it should be. And when you did kind of get back home, so as a reminder, this DJ was born at essentially 22 weeks. And so I don't know, did you guys have things set up? Did you have things purchased quite yet? Still kind of mid-pregnancy. So
Yeah,
were there
no,
things that you needed to put away? I like cuz that's always really really super
oh,
hard.
I know. Yeah, we had gotten some gifts and they were kind of out in our house, but
Mhm.
we hadn't set up a room yet. I actually just that week was starting to put together my registry. I had mentioned my youngest sister was
Mhm.
also pregnant. She was due 3.5 weeks after me.
Oh.
So we were talking about having a combined baby shower and yeah, I guess in a way, I didn't have to come home and put a ton of stuff away, but it also meant coming back to, knowing that there was still so much happening around me that I wanted to support and needed to support. But yeah, my sister is just an incredible person and she and my family were so supportive in the days after the loss and she just was so selfless even though she was going through her first pregnancy. And so 2.5 months later we had her baby shower and she honored DJ
Oh.
at the baby shower and had this beautiful setup for him and pictures and they had a little donation to the memorial stuff that we're doing for him and they said kind of a speech and a blessing for him and whew,
Oh.
that was just like
Yeah.
such a gift to have her do that really hard work for us,
Yeah.
because we were still struggling on what we wanted to do to honor him and she just said, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So her and my mom just, yeah, really helped with that. And I think, I want to talk about how important it is to honor your child and keep their name and memory alive, as difficult as it is. But that, through doing those hard parts, it has brought me and my friends and family closer
Yeah.
because, I think we all want to be there for each other as hard and scary as it is. And this is such an unknown thing to journey through and it can feel so uncomfortable to say I want to talk about my child that I lost or like I want to tell you about his story, but it has really brought me and others closer and I just keep reminding myself that every day when I feel out of place or lost or alone in this.
Yeah. Let's chat a little bit more about how you are choosing to honor DJ and your sister has her it sounds like she kind of also started helping with that ball rolling. So can you tell us what you are planning on doing? Because that is one thing we sort of hinted at the birth stories that about a memorial service or a some sort of something to celebrate him.
Yeah. So I wanted something like physical to honor him. And
Mhm.
and that's a few different ways. So on one of those trips we took after we lost him, we wanted to find, the perfect kind of urn. So we got this beautiful box
Mhm.
to put his ashes and little hat in and kind of footprints. And finding that was really, really special. So that was kind of one physical way to honor him. And then Doug and I love cycling, and there's this trail near the hospital where he was born, in a state park. And so we purchased a memorial bench
Oh,
on the
cool.
cycling trail. So when it's up later this year, when we cycle there or when our friends and family go, we can stop and honor him. And the plaque will also honor other babies that we have all lost. So we'll honor Brennan and honor others. And I just felt like I needed that to connect to other parents that, might see that and might stop and might make them feel not as alone in this.
A little more seen. I love the idea of having a bench and just 'cause that'll be his spot, and it'll be kind of like I think it'll be such a special little place for you guys and for others as well.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think, yeah, after all this time of trying to figure out what was right, that feels really right. And
Mhm.
then, yeah, we're holding a memorial picnic in that same state park.
Mhm.
Just like a very casual summer picnic on the 1 year anniversary of his birth and passing, and just like a time to connect with family and friends. And we'll have some photos out and just kind of be in community, right? And we'll share some of our story and just hold people close that we love dear. And yeah, I think it's going to be really special. It was a hard time getting there for me. It felt like, oh, are people going to get it? Are they going to understand this? Do they think it's weird? And it's no, right? We have funerals for loved ones. This
Yep.
is, a version of a funeral, and he meant something to a lot of people, whether or not they didn't get a chance to meet him. And,
Mhm.
honoring him in this way is what I need. And again, others have shared with us that, we're giving them a way to be there for us and honor him, and that is a gift to them. And
Mhm.
I really appreciate hearing that.
Yeah, it's such a simple thing, for them to be able to, like, show up to and to talk about DJ and show their support to you because it does make a huge difference, like, when people talk about your son, like, it just is just makes you proud, like a proud mom, like, you're like, "Yeah, that's my son."
Exactly. Yeah. And that's, again, like the ability to share our story here and, all of that is just, keeps his memory alive. Doug and I actually, there was like an art festival in
Mhm.
Philly a few weeks ago, a month ago, and we bought a piece of art from an artist that does kind of like ancient Egyptian scriptures. And it's just like these beautiful, beautiful pieces that are, incredibly intricate. And we noticed that every one had his wife's name on it, and he had mentioned that she had passed.
Oh.
And so we said, "Oh, did you do these with her years ago?" And he said, "No, there's something in," and I wish I remembered what exactly it was called, but there's something in kind of ancient Egyptian, beliefs where they say, if a name is written or a name is uttered, it keeps their spirit alive.
Hmm.
So he writes her name on every piece because that was their art to keep her spirit alive. And I feel like, again, every time we bring him up and others bring him up, it just, yeah, it keeps his memory and spirit alive. And so that makes me really happy. And so, yeah.
That is cool. I agree with you completely. Whenever we're always talking about our son Brandon, and just like I think I'm sure everybody's kind of sick and tired of hearing about him, but I was like, he that's how we are able to keep it him as very much a part of our family every single day, and that is cool. That everybody in our family is very cognizant of that, and they do the same thing for us. So it sounds like your family is very much that way.
They are, yeah. And again, it makes such a difference. I know it can be really scary for people to ask and not know what to say, or they say, "Oh, I didn't want to make you sad." It's like they're on my mind every day, and
Mhm.
it's such a gift when people ask how I'm doing, or, "Hey, I was thinking about DJ," or, just like anything, right? Or, "Hey, I remember this during your pregnancy," like
Yeah.
little things like that make such a difference. And, being able to share that with others and make this so much more normalized is such an important thing for me. So that's kind of been, one of those things I'm working on to kind of, I don't know, help keep moving his memory forward and, moving kind of the stigma of baby loss
Mhm.
into a new era of, this is my life. This is my son, even though
Yep.
he's not here.
Yeah. That's exactly right. I think that's so great to hear your kind of goal and drive to share him and just yes, you're right. Remove the stigma that is part of infant loss and stillbirth because they people just don't want to talk about it. And I want to reiterate what you said of earlier is that some people think that when you bring our kids up, that'll make us sad. Yes, we've got that little bit of sadness always in us, I think, just because they're not here, on Earth with us, but we are just pleased as punch to talk about our kids or hear about them or have somebody check in on us. I think that is such good advice to just, like, just do it, just ask, see how they're doing. So good. Okay, so you guys are doing this wonderful memorial picnic, which is great. Do you guys have anything specific planned that you guys are gonna? Is there like a little program or anything that that you guys are planning on doing as part of this event?
Yeah, I think, we want to again use it to, interestingly, I just found out that August 19th is also called the Day of Hope, which
Oh,
is also about, bringing stillbirth and child loss into, every day and kind of normalizing it. So, I'm excited that it's falling on the same day as, his memorial. And so getting a chance to talk about this and, podcasts like yours and programs and, organizations
yeah.
that we have felt really impactful to us and share that with others will be a really nice part that we want to share. And then we are going to do kind of like a donation project.
Cool.
Like there was this little hat and knitted stuff that they brought to us in the hospital that would fit him as a preemie,
Hmm.
and that was just one of the most moving things that I didn't have to put this big floppy hat on that would fit a 9-month old,
Yeah.
but at 5.5 months they had this little preemie hat, and that was from just people who make these and donate them. So I found the organization, and we're going to bring supplies and let
Awesome.
everybody have the chance to do that for some other families that need it.
Yeah, paying it forward a little bit because that, yeah, you don't realize how small a little the outfits, the onesies, the hats, they just don't quite fit. And so I think that is so cool that you're gonna give them supplies.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, even the diaper that he wore, like,
Oh, yeah,
that isn't like I thought it was fake, but like Pampers makes diapers that little, and
that
like
little.
what a gift to just
Yeah,
have things that fit him and have him recognize in that way
yeah,
was really special. So yeah, we will try to pay it forward with our
yeah.
family and friends.
Yeah. As small as they are, they were still here. So, what other things are you guys planning on doing? It sounds like you have a lot planned. I think this is so great. I think it's so great.
Well, it all is just coming together now. So it definitely was, a year of trying to figure out what made sense. But yeah, I'm definitely anxious about what happens after this, right? Because it's like
Mhm.
now we've got this big lead up to a time where we will talk about him a lot with family and friends and what
Yeah.
happens in the years ahead. Yeah, I just am feeling more and more confident about bringing him into our everyday. And as we continue to try to build our family, we're going through IVF now.
Oh, okay.
And, so yeah, this is giving us a lot of, hope and joy getting a chance to celebrate him while we still work hard to try to build our family
Yeah.
and bring new siblings.
Yeah. Good on you. It is tricky. And I'm like, "Oh, man, you're going through IVF as well." I just that is a lot because there's so much involved in that too, I'm sure, that you are that it can be tough. Oh, I wanted to just chat with you one a couple of last things. I know that you guys have talked a lot about you've mentioned a lot about how you and Doug have really relied on each other through this grief process. Have you noticed anything about how you guys grieve? Like if it's quite different or how that has looked and how you guys have supported each other in maybe your differences that you do have as you grieve.
Yeah, that was something that, I mean, we were always a very close couple. Like we've
Mhm.
got, the same friends and the same hobbies. And so we spend a lot of our time together. And so going through this grieving process, I felt like we knew each other, right?
Yeah.
After 10, 11 years together. And there's so much we didn't know, about what our triggers are and, what is really difficult for us. And so that has been, yeah, just like a rebirth of getting to know each other in this. And also we're different people now too,
Yeah.
like there is now a before, and that is very distinct in our minds. But we have done a lot of therapy and will continue to, and I'm grateful we have access to that. But we just recognize every day that we have to have patience and that we have to try to understand what is difficult or triggering
Yeah.
to each other and then try to hold safe space. And I find that most poignant when we're with other people and it's like, I know how to protect him now
Mm.
and he knows how to protect me. And that is just like the deepest, truest love.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a journey. It will be a journey. It's definitely brought us closer together as parents and a couple to know that, we've got each other.
Totally. Yeah, you got each other's back and you're gonna take care of them like, oh yeah, because it is so easy to just push each other's buttons, especially if you're like if you yourself are tapped out, it's so easy just to be like lash out and yeah, be unkind. So that's really sweet how you guys are trying to take care of each other that way. I was gonna ask, I know that it sounds like you're so incredibly close to your family, and I know that you probably now have 2 little nieces or nephews in your family. You had 2 other sisters that had babies within 6 months of each other, and how has that transition been? Has that been I know I'm good it's a dumb question to ask, but has that been difficult? And
Yeah, no, thanks for asking that. I think, meeting my sister was also having a boy,
oh,
which
okay.
was,
Yeah,
I think, also really difficult. I don't
yeah.
know, I don't know
Yeah,
why the
no, it
sex
is.
difference
I
makes a difference, but it does.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, her delivering, within weeks after his original due date was so hard. I mean, it took Doug, another week or two to be able to come around and meet him.
Yeah.
But when we did, and then in the months since, like we love being aunt and uncle. Like it is
Mhm.
just the coolest job. And, we go and stay over and take care. So my brother and sister have two girls now, and my sister has a little boy, and, it's just so cool. And they bring us such joy. Like babies know nothing but joy and love. And, we actually were babysitting our two nieces over Father's Day weekend.
Mhm.
Doug and I were talking in the morning, and our niece, who's a little over 2, Doug was crying, and we were talking to her a little, and she goes, "It's okay, Doug. Nellie's here. It's okay." Just giving him a hug, and like she just, like just made
Yeah.
us feel so loved in that moment. And they really help us heal. And, there are plenty of moments where we just think, oh man, like if
Yeah.
TJ was here, like that would have been so cool,
Yeah.
with all the cousins together. But, their love just carries us forward. So, we just focus on the love.
Yeah. I know there's that always initial like, "Okay, I'm gonna meet him," and how hard that can be, but it sounds like they've embraced you guys, and you've embraced them back, and I think that's great. Amy, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure chatting with you. I would like to I always ask, is there anything that you would like to share, any advice or anything you'd like to share about DJ, before we close today?
I don't know, like so many things, but just how important it is to honor your child after the loss, as difficult as it is, but share with others.
Yeah,
And, it will open up space for you to share more. And yeah, we're just so proud to be DJ's parents and think about him every day.
that is perfect. Thank you so much, Amy, again.
Thank you so much. It's really such an honor to get to share my story. And just thank you for creating this space for us.
Yeah, once again, we like to do that so that people can step in and tell their stories. I think and that was perfect for you to be here with us today. So thank you again.
Thank you.